The Roman Forum buzzed with life. It was March 15th, 44 BCE, a day known as the Ides of March. It would become a day forever etched in history. This was the day Julius Caesar, the most powerful man in Rome, met his end. The sun shone brightly, oblivious to the dark deeds about to unfold. The air crackled with a tension unseen on ordinary days. Caesar, fresh from his triumphs in the Gallic Wars, was at the pinnacle of his power. He had been declared dictator for life. This was an unprecedented honor. It was also a dangerous game. To his supporters, Caesar was a god in human form. He was the savior of Rome. To his enemies, he was a tyrant. He was a threat to the very foundations of the Republic. Caesar's growing power had sown seeds of discontent among the Roman elite. The Senate, once the seat of power, found itself increasingly sidelined. The senators, proud and influential men, saw their authority waning. They watched as Caesar's star rose ever higher. Resentment festered in their hearts. Whispers of conspiracy began to circulate in the shadowy corners of the Forum. This day, Caesar was scheduled to attend a meeting of the Senate. He walked with his usual confidence, unaware of the danger that lurked. He had dismissed the warnings of his wife Calpurnia. She had dreamt of his murder, her pleas falling on deaf ears. Caesar, it seemed, was a man who did not fear fate. He believed himself invincible. Rome was a city divided. The common people adored Caesar. He had brought them prosperity and glory. His victories had filled their coffers. They cheered his name in the streets. The elite, however, viewed him with suspicion. They saw him as an upstart, a threat to their centuries-old traditions. The Senate, the embodiment of Roman power, was split. The whispers of discontent grew louder. They coalesced into a dangerous plot. A group of senators led by Cassius and Brutus decided to act. They believed Caesar's ambition threatened the Republic. They resolved to eliminate him. For them, it was a matter of principle. They believed they were saving Rome. The Ides of March dawned like any other day. The sun rose over the 7 hills of Rome, casting its golden light on the marble temples and bustling streets. But in the hearts of the conspirators, a dark purpose burned. They were ready to act. They met in secret, their faces grim, their voices hushed. The die was cast. There was no turning back. Brutus, racked by guilt and doubt, still hesitated. He was torn between his conscience and his loyalty to the cause. Cassius, a master manipulator, played on his fears. He reminded Brutus of Caesar's growing power, of the threat to the Republic, of their duty to Rome.
Cassius, I still have doubts. Caesar is my friend, but Rome must come first.
Brutus, finally convinced, agreed to join the assassination. The conspirators, their nerves on edge, went about their business, waiting for the appointed hour. They mingled with the crowds, their faces betraying nothing of the turmoil within. Each man carried a secret, a burden of guilt and fear that weighed heavily on their souls. The fate of Rome, and their own fates, hung in the balance. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the tension in the city became palpable. Even those unaware of the plot could sense that something was amiss. The air crackled with anticipation. It was as if the very stones of Rome were holding their breath, waiting for the storm to break. The stage was set for a tragedy that would reverberate through the ages. The Senate meeting, scheduled for that afternoon, was the chosen venue for the assassination. It was a fitting location. The Senate, once the symbol of Roman power and democracy, would become the stage for its demise. The conspirators, cloaked in their togas, their daggers hidden beneath their robes, entered the Senate chamber one by one. They looked like any other senators, there to debate the affairs of state. But beneath their outward calm, their hearts pounded with a deadly purpose. The Ides of March dawned like any other day. The sun rose over the 7 hills of Rome, casting its golden light on the marble temples and bustling streets. But in the hearts of the conspirators, a dark purpose burned. They were ready to act. They met in secret, their faces grim, their voices hushed. The die was cast. There was no turning back. Brutus, racked by guilt and doubt, still hesitated. He was torn between his conscience and his loyalty to the cause. Cassius, a master manipulator, played on his fears. He reminded Brutus of Caesar's growing power, of the threat to the Republic, of their duty to Rome.
Cassius, I still have doubts. Caesar is my friend, but Rome Rome must come first.
Brutus, finally convinced, agreed to join the assassination. The conspirators, their nerves on edge, went about their business, waiting for the appointed hour. They mingled with the crowds, their faces betraying nothing of the turmoil within. Each man carried a secret, a burden of guilt and fear that weighed heavily on their souls. The fate of Rome, and their own fates, hung in the balance. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the tension in the city became palpable. Even those unaware of the plot could sense that something was amiss. The air crackled with anticipation. It was as if the very stones of Rome were holding their breath, waiting for the storm to break. The stage was set for a tragedy that would reverberate through the ages. The Senate meeting, scheduled for that afternoon, was the chosen venue for the assassination. It was a fitting location. The Senate, once the symbol of Roman power and democracy, would become the stage for its demise. The conspirators, cloaked in their togas, their daggers hidden beneath their robes, entered the Senate chamber one by one. They looked like any other senators, there to debate the affairs of state. But beneath their outward calm, their hearts pounded with a deadly purpose. To understand the Ides of March, one must first know Gaius Julius Caesar. Born into a patrician family, Caesar's ambition knew no bounds. He displayed intellect, charisma, and pragmatism. His rise was not meteoric. He navigated Roman politics with cunning and audacity. His conquest of Gaul cemented his reputation. The legions adored him. His triumph against Pompey marked a turning point. It propelled him to power, but cast a long shadow. The Republic faced its greatest challenge yet: Caesar. He represented stability and the threat of tyranny, a populist and a patrician, a visionary and a pragmatist. He implemented reforms but made ruthless decisions, a living legend, yet a man of flesh and blood. In the aftermath of the Civil War, Caesar found himself at a crossroads. Rome lay at his feet, weary of conflict, yet wary of absolute power. He had emerged victorious, yet the path ahead was fraught with uncertainty. The Senate, once the bedrock of the Republic, had been sidelined, its authority diminished by Caesar's growing influence. The title of dictator, initially bestowed upon him as a temporary measure, became inextricably linked to his name. To his supporters, it was a necessary evil, a means to an end. Caesar, they argued, was the only one capable of restoring order and guiding Rome into a new era of prosperity. His reforms, aimed at alleviating the plight of the poor, reforming the administration, and expanding Roman citizenship, were met with both praise and apprehension. Yet, to his detractors, the title of dictator for life was anathema, a betrayal of the very principles upon which the Republic was founded. They saw in Caesar's ambition the seeds of monarchy, the death knell of the system they held sacred. The Senate, once a forum for debate and consensus, became a breeding ground for resentment and conspiracy. The allure of power is a potent force capable of corrupting even the most noble of hearts. Caesar, for all his virtues, was not immune to its seductive whisper. The line between ambition and tyranny is often blurred, and in the twilight of his reign, Caesar found himself walking a tightrope, balancing the needs of the state with the temptations of absolute power. Whispers of discontent slithered through the corridors of power. The Senate, once a symbol of unity, was now a viper's nest of intrigue. Senators watched uneasily as Caesar consolidated power. Cassius, the fiery orator, and Cicero, the silver-tongued statesman, were torn. Brutus, the stoic idealist, struggled with loyalty and justice. Seeds of conspiracy sprouted in resentment and fear. Secret meetings and hushed conversations took place. Conspirators united against Caesar had diverse motivations, some driven by ambition, others by fear for the Republic. Brutus, the reluctant assassin, loved Rome but was loyal to Caesar. The conspirators, bound by their shared distrust of Caesar, moved in the shadows. They were a disparate group, united by circumstance and ambition. Each harbored their own grievances, their own fears, their own hopes for the future of Rome.
I value honor and principle above all else. My loyalty to Caesar runs deep, forged in years of friendship and shared experience. I recognize Caesar's brilliance, his charisma, his genuine desire to improve the lives of the Roman people. Yet I also harbor a deep-seated fear of tyranny, a fear that gnaws at my conscience, whispering doubts in my ear.
Cassius, the fiery orator, possessed a keen intellect and a burning resentment for Caesar's dominance. He saw in Caesar's rise a threat to the very fabric of the Republic. He was the driving force behind the conspiracy, his words a potent weapon that swayed the hearts and minds of the wavering.
I see in Caesar's growing power the potential for abuse, the seductive lure of absolute rule.
Cassius recognized Brutus's internal conflict and sought to exploit it. He played upon Brutus's sense of duty, his unwavering belief in the ideals of the Republic. He reminded Brutus of his illustrious ancestor Lucius Junius Brutus, who had expelled the last Roman king and helped establish the Republic. He argued that Caesar's ambition posed a direct threat to the legacy of their forefathers, that the very soul of Rome hung in the balance.
The other conspirators, men of varying ambition and influence, added their voices to the chorus of dissent.
Some were motivated by personal gain, eager to seize the opportunity to advance their own careers in the chaos that would follow Caesar's death. Others were driven by genuine fear, convinced that Caesar's rule would spell the end of the Republic and usher in an era of tyranny.
And so the plot thickened, and the fate of Rome hung in the balance.
The conspiracy, like a serpent coiled in the grass, awaited the opportune moment to strike. The Ides of March, the 15th day of the month, loomed large on the horizon. It was a day steeped in religious significance, a day of both celebration and foreboding. It was on this day that the conspirators chose to execute their plan, their daggers poised to strike at the heart of Caesar's power. Brutus, tormented by doubt and guilt, remained the linchpin of their plot. His reputation for honor and integrity lent legitimacy to their cause, shielding them from suspicion.
The weight of our actions, the gravity of our decision, presses down upon us, a tangible force that threatens to crush our resolve.
Cassius, a master manipulator, understood this all too well. He continued to ply Brutus with flattery and veiled threats, reminding him of the sacrifices they were prepared to make for the sake of Rome.
We swore oaths of secrecy, our hands clasped together, our hearts pounding in unison.
As the fateful day approached, rumors of unrest and conspiracy reached Caesar's ears. His wife Calpurnia, plagued by nightmares and visions of his demise, pleaded with him to stay away from the Senate. She saw in her dreams a portent of doom, a warning that she couldn't ignore. But Caesar, ever the pragmatist, dismissed her fears as womanly superstition. He had faced death on countless battlefields, stared down legions of enemies, and emerged victorious. He refused to cower in the face of shadows and whispers. The morning of the Ides of March dawned bright and clear, the air crisp with the promise of spring. The city of Rome, oblivious to the drama about to unfold, bustled with its usual energy. Merchants hawked their wares, children played in the streets, and senators cloaked in their togas made their way to the Senate House, their minds preoccupied with the affairs of state. Caesar, his mind at ease, prepared to leave for the Senate meeting. He had received numerous reports of unrest and conspiracy, but he refused to be swayed by fear. He was Caesar, the conqueror of Gaul, the master of Rome, the most powerful man in the world. He would not be intimidated by shadows and whispers. He would face his enemies head-on, as he always had.
I have come too far, achieved too much to be deterred by the threats of a few disgruntled senators. I will address the Senate, address their concerns, and reaffirm my commitment to the betterment of Rome.
Unbeknownst to Caesar, the conspirators were already in place, their daggers hidden beneath their togas, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. They had chosen their moment carefully. The Senate House would be their stage, the Ides of March their backdrop. They were ready to sacrifice everything, even their honor, for the sake of Rome. The die was cast. The soothsayer's warning echoed, "Beware the Ides of March."
Heed not the ravings of madmen.
My lord, the omens are ill. Stay with me, I beg of you.
My love, I cannot be swayed by dreams and omens.
Caesar, though touched, remained resolute. Caesar, undeterred, walked through Rome, his presence commanding respect.
He greeted the crowds, his smile confident.
Yet unease lingered in the air. The Senate House loomed large, anticipation crackling in the air.
Caesar ascended the steps, unease washing over him.
He stepped through the Senate doors, tension thick.
My lord, we have matters of grave importance.
Speak freely, Cassius.
Caesar's instincts screamed something was amiss.
We have received reports of your growing tyranny.
Tyranny, I have fought for Rome.
For the Republic, Casca lunged forward.
Casca's blow struck Caesar's shoulder. Chaos erupted.
Caesar roared in defiance, fighting back.
The conspirators pressed their attack.
Et tu, Brute?
The question echoed through the ages.
Brutus delivered the final fatal blow.
Caesar staggered back, his lifeblood staining the marble. The deed was done. Caesar lay dead.
Romans, we have delivered Rome from tyranny.
His words were met with stunned silence. The senators struggled to comprehend the magnitude. The assassination marked the end of one era and the beginning of another. The Republic, weakened, teetered on the brink of civil war. Octavian would inherit Caesar's legacy and dream of empire. Section 3. Caesar's Shadow. The Ides of March, forever etched in the annals of history as the day Julius Caesar met his tragic end, would become a stark reminder of the perils of unchecked ambition, the seductive allure of power, and the enduring human capacity for both greatness and betrayal. Caesar's name, once synonymous with power and ambition, would become a cautionary tale, a symbol of both the promise and the peril of leadership. His life, a testament to the heights that human ambition can reach. His death, a stark reminder of the fragility of power, the fickleness of fate, and the enduring power of the human spirit. The Roman Republic, for which Caesar had fought and bled, would ultimately give way to the Roman Empire, a testament to his enduring legacy, the fulfillment of his dream, albeit one achieved through bloodshed and violence. The ideals of liberty and justice for which he had striven would be subsumed by the demands of empire, the needs of the state taking precedence over the rights of the individual. Yet, even in death, Caesar's shadow loomed large. His reforms, his military genius, his vision for a unified and powerful Rome would leave an indelible mark on the course of Western civilization. His name, whispered in hushed tones by those who dared to dream of greatness, would inspire both awe and trepidation, a testament to the enduring power of ambition, the intoxicating allure of power, and the enduring human capacity for both good and evil.